A very warm welcome and a good morning to you. We're really excited about this live session. You have just been privy to some behind the scene chat there as well, and there's much more of that to come. So my name is Satnam Rana Gringley. Some of you may know me from my previous job as Arts and Culture Correspondent for BBC Midlands. Today I'm now Head of Communications at Greater Birmingham and Solihull Local Enterprise Partnership, and I'm really pleased to be here this morning because one of the areas that we work alongside is creative industries, and doctors is very much the beating heart of drama in Birmingham as far as I'm concerned. I've done a lot of work with the team over the last 2 decades. As I said, very warm welcome. We're joined today by producer Mike Hobson. Mike, if you want to wave. We have also First Assistant Director and Scheduler Rachel Stacy. Rachel, hi. And we have cast members Bharti Patel, who plays Rima Carter. Hi, Bharti. And Dex Lee, who plays Bear Sylvester. Hi, Dex. Hi. Warm welcome to all of you. Right, all of you that have joined, I hope you've got your questions ready. You can submit them via our question and answer box on the right-hand side, and I'll shout them out for you as we go along as well. But before we do get started, I wanted to tell you a little bit about this week's event. It's been organised by the Royal Television Society Midlands, and it's our most ambitious career fairs yet. It's a 4-day event, and it's brought together people from across the world of broadcasting for 6 hours of live streamed sessions, masterclasses and workshops each day. So lots going on, and you can find out more by going to the website rts.org.uk to find out more about the fair and to sign up for sessions or to catch up on those that you may have missed. We'd also love for you to get on your phones and use the hashtag RTS Careers Fair, or talk us up and tag us at BBC BHAM PR. That's BBC Birmingham PR. That's the housekeeping bit done. Let's get to Leatherbridge then, and what you've been waiting for. Here is a start, and it's our exclusive behind the scenes tour of Doctors.
Hey there guys, how you doing? Welcome to Archibald House, where we film everything Doctors, everything Leatherbridge. We've got sets, costume, makeup, wardrobe, everything here. We want to show you around so you can get to know the inside of how everything works. Let's make some moves. Hey, this is our campus surgery, which is on the first floor of Archibald House, one of our sets on site. Today, I'm going to let you in on a few of our little secrets. First off, there's no glass. Now, the good thing about being on a purpose-built set as opposed to a location is you can take out the walls. And that's so we can film scenes like this. How you doing, guys? We are here in the art department. Everything that you see on set, all the posters, the graphics, it's all made here specifically for our show. As you can see, there are all of the characters and all of the props, designs, phones, everything that's attributed to them, all here lined up. How you doing, guys? Today here we are in production, which is the heart of Doctors. It's really exciting. We've got second ADs over here. We've got production coordinators over there. If you want to find out what's going on, your schedules for the week is all here. We have all of the actors who are currently in this week. Over the course of a year here at Doctors, we have around 800 actors who come through. And this is the department that sorts out their travel, where they're staying, their schedules. It's a lot of work, but they make it happen, and it's almost like it's magic. And we're going to talk to a second AD now, Sam Wiggett, or Swigget, as he is affectionately called. Sam, tell us, what do you do?
What do I do? That's the question. I'm responsible for starting the Fantasy Football League every year.
Yeah.
What we do as second ADs, we kind of get everyone to where they need to be on time, etc. So we create the call sheets, we liaise with costume makeup. Before the shoot starts, we'll liaise with the director and talk to them about how many essays they want supporting artists, so your background artists who are in the action. Yeah, that's what we do.
If I wasn't an actor, I want to be a second AD. We're here with the queen of scheduling, Rachel. Break down to us what it is that makes up what you do here.
You take all the scripts and you input them into a program called Movie Magic. You break them down into scenes and then you put them all back together again to fit into a 10-day block of Doctors. So it's like doing a big jigsaw, because those 3 episodes also line up against the other 3 episodes on the other units. So you have to figure out how not to have 2 people in the same place at the same time. I started as a runner about 10 years ago, and I worked my way up through the ranks. So runner, 3rd AD, 2nd AD, 1st AD, and then once I'd been firsting for a couple of years, the opportunity to schedule came up, and it's one that I took. I really like it when we triple banks, when we have 3 units running, because then the jigsaw's even bigger and even more complicated, and yeah, more of a challenge.
Nice. Okay, thank you so much, Rachel. And that is everything to do with scheduling and production. So let's move on to set and see what else we can learn about.
Biscuits. We want more biscuits.
This is one of the guys who makes the magic happen. So tell us, what's it like being a camera operator?
It's exciting. It's fast paced. You've got to be quick thinking on your feet.
How did you get into the business of being a camera operator?
Well, I was a runner. That gave me a great outlook on all departments, and it solidified my decision that I wanted to be in the camera department. So this place is a wonderful school for young, aspiring people of all departments.
Absolutely. Pam, tell us a bit about what you do here at Doctors.
Okay, so I'm a 3rd AD, so I'm in charge of supporting artists and putting them into shots and directing them with the action, and then their continuity as well. So we'll film the same scene from about 10 different positions, so I've got to make sure they're walking the exact same spots that they were. Copy that. Sorry to cut you short. Okay. So Pam to Claudia, so it'll be the same again with our essays. If you can reset them, please.
Yes, we've got 2 more minutes. Okay, we're going to pick up from where we were. Pam, who's over here? Tell us, how did you get into the industry?
Well, I started doing work experience at an independent channel in Birmingham. Then I came to Doctors, started as a runner for a few blocks, then went to be a production secretary for about 8 months, then went into scripts and was a researcher for a few years. Then I came back on the floor as a 3rd AD, and I've been doing assistant coordinating and thirding and swapping between the 2.
Pam, thanks so much for your time.
No worries.
Very eye-opening. So we're up on the 3rd floor, top floor of Archibald House now, and this is where everything goes to get finished. So even while things are still being filmed on set, it comes up here to get edited, graded, changed, finished and finalised. So let's go and see what goes on. And here we are on arguably the most comfortable seat in the entire building. We are in the finishing suite with our post-production supervisor, Steve Kelly. Steve, tell us, what it is that you do here?
It's filmed, the rushes come back to us. The editor will look at performance, look at lighting, sound and whatnot, and tell the story using the shots that have been provided. And at the end of that period, the director will come in, they get it down to duration. The pictures go to a grade, the sound will go off to sound dubbing, and they'll go through and they'll tidy up all the dialogue, they'll add a lot more sound effects and build up a soundscape on it. Then after that, those 2 will be brought into the finishing suite, where we will marry the sound and the final pictures together, add the titles and any graphics, and then we'll have a final viewing to check that we haven't missed anything, because things like boom mics might have crept into shot, or there might be reflections of crew indoors or mirrors. We might have to then go in and paint those out and try and remove anything that shouldn't be there. We then turn it into a file and get sent off for transmission.
If someone wanted to make their way into post-production editing, what steps can it take?
Well, you can teach yourself a lot of it. I mean, you can download free versions of the popular versions of software, then try and get yourself involved with a production the production company that's got their own kits.
Yeah.
Or a facilities company that's got their own kit. You can get in as a runner, you get in as an assistant, and just learn the process.
Steve, thank you so much. Hey there, guys, we're in the grade suite. We're with Maz. She's going to tell us what happens in it.
As a colourist, my sole responsibility is to contribute to the look, the mood, and the kind of feel of the programme.
Tell us now, if someone wanted to get into grading, how do you do that? What kind of things can they do now?
Well, the key thing I learned was to be proactive and stay proactive. So what I did was I applied for work experience at a local independent production company. And I learnt loads. Familiarise yourself with the post-production process. But I also say it's really, really important is not to get obsessed about post-production. So if you want to get into online editing and you want to get into grading, learn a different skill. Learn what happens in like the pre-production process, script writing. Learn what they do on set.
Learn it, know the whole thing, and then in the same way that you did, whatever kind of you start to lean towards, that's the way you go. But at least you have that strong basis of the entire process.
Absolutely. You don't have to know exactly what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Enjoy the journey of getting there.
Nice, yeah.
There's a life lesson in that. Enjoy the journey. Don't just obsess about the destination.
That's some paramount advice there from us. I think that's answered everything that we need to know about the grading suite, Okay, no, that was Archibald House, Charmer Village. I hope you learned a lot today. I know I did. But that's all we got time for. So, I've got to get on set.
Well, how lucky were we to have had a behind-the-scenes tour of the set, post-production, the whole shebang, really. Feel very, very privileged indeed. It's a rare opportunity and a really amazing insight as well, and some great questions, Dex. If you want to stop acting and be a reporter, you could do that as well. Good interviewer there. Keep those questions coming in if you have joined us. Thank you very much, and we will trickle them through and ask them of our lovely guests this morning. I'd like to start off with probably one of the main questions that I'm sure you're asked all the time, but a really important one. Can you explain how you actually ended up working in continuity drama? I know, Dex, you've been here for about 12 months now. If I can start off with you.
Yeah, sure. So actually, funny enough, I started off in musical theatre. Theatre was kind of my background in acting. And then obviously I had to kind of go to classes, places like the Actors Centre and so on. And similarly to what Maz was saying, kind of like learn how it works on that side of acting, on the TV frame. Which, as you can see, I'm quite big with my movements. I move around quite a lot. So I had to learn that the difference all comes from the same place, acting-wise, but learning that, how to fit it all on the screen, how to get those emotions across from your eyes as opposed to your entire body, working on that. So through that, I stopped auditioning for theatre, and through my agent, only specified on working and auditioning for TV. A lot of my first auditions I didn't get, loads I didn't get. I had to learn through the audition process. And then finally enough, with the BBC, Doctors wasn't my first audition for them. I'd auditioned for Our Girl, which I'd got quite far for, but didn't get. But then it seemed to be working. Then auditioned for Father Brown, which funny enough, the post-production editing is actually done here at Archibald House, which I also didn't get. But again, they quite liked what I was bringing. And then finally with Doctors, I had about 3 auditions, and Mike and our other exec producer, Peter Lloyd, was in the final audition, and they liked what they saw. And within 3 weeks, I was on the set, thrown right into the deep end. But everyone was really cool and great and helped me through and were very patient, even though work goes at 100 miles an hour here at Doctors. And since then, I've loved every second and kept growing and getting better. That's been. And
I think the key thing from that, for me, as a takeaway, would be a bit of resilience and perseverance altogether. I've got a question which follows on from that, from somebody who's tuning in. It's from Darren, and it says, "What was your first day on the set like? And did you watch Doctors before joining?"
Funnily enough, in our household, are very much an EastEnders household. So I luckily that went down well in the producer's room because it's all BBC, it's all fine. Doctors, I started watching it when I found out, when I started auditioning for it. So it's great, it's fast paced, it's quick, but I didn't realize how quick it was. So when I got there my first day, it was actually, my first time on set was actually about 5, 6, 7 episodes in. So it was already supposed to be very comfortable, and I was freaking out. But I was with the guy who plays Daniel Granger, Matt Chambers, and again, he was really calm, really cool. We went over the lines loads of times, went over it. He was like, just relax, just go in. And like, the good thing is there's well, the editing, you don't see that happen. So if you forget a line or you mess up, or, you know, we could just pick back up from where we left off, or you can, they cut out those long gaps in between anyway. So it was a painless experience. It was like doing skydiving. You know, you think you're gonna die, and then you go out and you do it, and it's amazing. You know, it's a thrill, a rush.
Thank you for that question, Darren, as well. It was a really good question. Bharti, what about you then? How did you get into it all?
I would say that I fell through the back door of arts, really. Theatre is where I started, and I had no concept of this was a job I could do at all. So somebody had sent off for an audition for me in Theatreland with a company called Red Ladder, and that's how it started. And then I've been very fortunate, because I'm probably one of the actors around, and there's not many of us who don't have an agent and never had an agent. So all my work has been word of mouth, is the best way to say it. And there's been the odd auditions, like Doctors, which happened, and then and I've done a bit of TV, but not loads. But Deck's absolutely right that this is a job at Doctors, which is a real school where you get to learn. Everyone's really friendly. Everyone really tries to help you, and I think those things are really important. So just keep knocking at the doors. You will go to auditions. You won't get those auditions. Never think it's personal. It's about them. They often at an audition don't know what they're also looking for. So just really try and be brave and keep getting up and keep going for those auditions. And you don't need to go, I never went to drama college. You don't have to follow the same routes as everybody else. Sometimes another door will open and you can enter that way.
Excellent advice there. Mike, Rachel, just as important, because obviously we've got our on-screen family, but behind them is a whole support service and very important job. So for you, Mike, how did you end up in the position that you're in as a producer?
Well, similar to that's all been said before, and you know, I didn't start as the exec producer of Doctors. I started, you know, in a different role, started in what is now called the art department a long time ago now, back at Pebble Mill, and worked lots of jobs across. You know, I'll list them all, but you know, what's called second assistant director, first assistant director, production manager, an associate producer, a producer, series producer, and kind of, you know, and I think that's what this career fair has shown, and hopefully people are getting from that, is that you know, it's about seeing the whole industry and working in different areas of it, and then finding out where you really want to go, really. Because I didn't know what a producer or an exec producer did when I started over many years ago. But being in the industry, you kind of start to make your way, and it's taken a long time. But and I think that's, you know, lots of people. You'll talk to Rachel now, and she's done a similar route. And yeah, it's keep trying is the advice I want to give out there, really. It doesn't always land the first time, but if you keep trying, hopefully, and the passion's there, you'll end up forging through.
Rachel, does your experience echo that as well?
Yeah, I think so. I started out as a runner, weirdly, in live TV. So I didn't start in drama. I started at ITV this morning. Kind of production running and picking up press loans and all that kind of thing, and I was couch surfing and just kind of had to do that for a few months, and then I did a short film with a director we have here called Merlin, and she kind of gave my name to our line producer, and then the rest is history, really. I started running on Doctors in 2009, I think it was. And I've kind of left and come back a lot, but kind of just worked my way up through the AD ladder. I knew I wanted to be an AD very, very quickly, and so kind of worked my way up that way. But it is perseverance, and there is a lot of luck involved. Like sometimes you just happen to be in the canteen at the right time,
Yeah.
Like I worked down on Casualty and I ended up on Doctor Who because I happened to be in the canteen when the production manager was there, so there is a lot of luck involved as well, but you've just got to keep going. But yeah, similar to Mike and most people is that 99% of people on set have been a runner. So that is the #1 way really for getting into the industry, because then you can see everything, you can see all the departments, and there are so many things going on set that you don't even realise were a job, like script supervisor or location manager or something like that. So
I've got a question actually specifically for you, Rachel, which says, what advice would you have for an AD managing a set, particularly around being assertive and sticking to a schedule as well?
So there's a really big difference between being assertive and being a bit what's the word?
Rude.
Yeah, rude, yeah, definitely. And I think being assertive just means having the information and being able to pass it on well. So my job as a first is when we've crew rehearsed, I have to know every single shot and every single setup that's left on that scene. And so if you're equipped with that information, you can forge ahead quite smoothly. But I would say one of the biggest bits of advice I'd have for anybody at any level is, if you don't know something, admit it, because then, because I've firsted quite a few stunts now, but everybody does their first stunt, everybody does their first bit of time within a bit of an equipment or in a type of location, or even working at night. And if you can put your hand up and say, I actually haven't done this before, nobody's going to think you're stupid. Everyone's going to think, oh, okay, like then we can get her up to speed or them up to speed. So I think always, if the sooner you admit that you don't know something or you've made a mistake, the quicker you can fix it. So that would be like, be humble, like don't be arrogant, like just admit that you might not know something and you can forge ahead.
And it's also, you can't know everything.
Yeah.
That's what, you can't know everything. Every day you learn something, whether you want to admit it or not, you will be learning something. So get your hand up there and just say, because the chances are there'll be another 2 people behind you who also wanted to say, I don't know, but weren't brave enough. So be brave.
Yeah.
And related to a set question, this could go Rachel or Mike. What's the best way then, if you find yourself in a situation where there is a dispute on set, whether that be between actors or between production staff, how do you approach that and resolve it? How do you manage it?
I think communication is always the big key, really, is feeding everybody information so they know what's happening. Certainly on the floor, like Rachel says, you need to know what every shot, what the director's looking to do, what's needed, how many scenes you've got to do. I mean, Doctors is a great place to work. I wouldn't say we don't have, I wouldn't say disputes, but kind of interesting conversations. But, I think it's about communicating and talking and finding out what the problems are and finding out what we can do to help people who have issues. And we kind of work through them and get through. It's a very fast-paced show, Doctors. So, it's like the fastest in town, really. And, sometimes we're shooting, kind of 12.5 minutes a day, which is pretty fast going, especially as we go out on location. People in the Midlands have probably seen us filming around the centre of Birmingham, Cannon Hill Park, Harborne, Selly Oakville, all those places. And that takes a lot of kind of organisation and getting out there. But yeah, communication and just kind of talking to people is what helps get you through, I think.
Dex and Bharti, a question for you related around filming and scripts. From your perspective, what makes a great episode and script, from an actor's point of view?
I'll say a little bit first. I suppose the more authentic it is, and if it's current, if there's things that are happening in our real world and we can somehow reflect that, and having that diversity, I think they're the things. And obviously great writing. And if your character just happens to be at the lead of those, the stories, it's fantastic. I would say they're one of the best things.
Dex, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what Bharti's saying, you know, if you get an episode that has brilliant writing and can appeal to the majority of people, then it's brilliant. Because at the end of the day, like throughout all age groups, you know, emotions stay the same, and the way we feel stays the same across culturally, across age groups. So anyone who can appeal to that and tell a story that's truthful is in my opinion what makes a great script.
I think one of the things also, sorry, that jumping in on that as well, is that Doctors is very good at consistently coming up with little twists and different stories that aren't sometimes told. And I will, you know, take my hat off to them for that. They are good for that, definitely.
Yeah, always exploring a taboo subject or pushing the boat out with an alternative perspective, which is why it's so unique really for daytime drama, because there's big issues being dealt with in the middle of the day, which you would normally expect to be post-watershed. So that is something which is very, very, very unique to Doctors and very attractive to the audience as well. And around that script writing question, Mike, this is probably for you. If you are a new script writer, how do you get yourself noticed, especially in a setting like Doctors, where you have this continuity drama and established script writers? How do you muscle yourself in if you're at the start of that journey?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we have we're nearly 100 writers who write for us. Some, you know, will write half a dozen episodes or 10 episodes a year, and then some may only write one or two. You know, the BBC Writers' Room is a really good place to start. You know, if you look them up online, they will read a script if you send it in. You know, we do nurture and encourage new writers to the show. It's quite difficult with the turnaround we have. So why the facility of the Writers' Room really helps us is because they've got dedicated readers who will read that and get back, whereas our script editors here are always within the process of developing and working on scripts really, and so it can be slightly harder for them. But again, it's the same with everything that's been said really, is keep trying really. I think it's, you know, it may not be the first script you send in that turns out to be the one that gets you noticed and moves on. I think it's a commitment and a passion for it, and that hopefully that came across in the film we did there from all levels. It's about enjoying it and wanting to be there really.
And what about when you're setting out to do those scripts? Should you be aligning them with the storylines that you are featuring? Is it about watching the programme and trying to sort of fit into that, or should you be trying something alternative?
I mean, yeah. I mean, a passion for, you know, a passion for Doctors is great, but a passion for continuing drama and a passion for storytelling is what it's all about, really. And obviously, there's huge content out there with all the, you know, channels, and you know, Doctors is you know, it's a medical-based show that looks at a lot of issue-based stories, but also has a great humour running through it. We tackle lots of subjects, like you've said. You know, nothing's really taboo for us, really. We've tried most things and pulled a lot of them off, really. But we will also go off on a slightly wacky thing. You know, we'll do sadly not this year, but we'll do a Halloween story, or we'll do, you know, a Christmas Carol, and do some great ideas there, which wouldn't necessarily, you would think, would be a Doctor story, but we pride ourselves on kind of tackling those stories, and hopefully our audience enjoy the diversity and different genres we dip into.
Bharti, I still remember the wedding scene and that beautiful Bollywood dance routine. It was so much fun. It stays in my mind, that does. How important is it to have medical knowledge or research of medical work to work on Doctors, whether you're an actor or a script writer or a producer?
Well, I can only speak as Rumour, the midwife here. I actually was a birthing partner way before Doctors arrived for me. So that was, just to have that in the back of my mind always is fantastic. I've got 3 children, all of them very different births, and I'm surrounded by fantastic, strong women that have got stories as well. If anything comes up in the script, there's always the fantastic internet to have a look at particular wordings and things, so that's a help. But we also, you know, have a team that we can get in touch with to say, I'm not sure about this. And we sometimes have a doctor or a medical professional on stage, on set. So that helps. I mean, none of us, we're not, you know, it'd be great if we were able to really do those things, but we can't really.
I mean, researchers is a job that was probably mentioned within that film. You know, that they're very important to us. So all of our scripts go through research, whether we're telling a police story, we'll talk to police advisors, but certainly medical. And they go through, we've got a couple of medical advisors who read through every script and feed us back information and feed us back ideas that we then incorporate and use within our stories. So yeah, research is a really interesting and interesting entry level kind of into drama and also into factual shows. And it's quite fun. It's under portrayed really, but very useful.
Talking to somebody who started off as a researcher, and you do get a wider spectrum on what's happening around you, and you can almost observe, take part and observe, and then pick and choose the bits that you want to try out to the point that you eventually come to, which might be the job you take on for X amount of years. So actually very sound advice as an entry-level position. Do you have any advice for building connections in the industry? Because I think that's probably one of the hardest things, isn't it? When you're on the outside, you're trying to break in. How do you build those connections in the first place? You are all busy all the time. So what can people do to help themselves?
I just want to jump in on this one quickly. I'd say first and foremost, be a nice person. You know, everybody, even if you're not the best at your job, everybody is willing to help teach someone who is a nice person. So first of all, do that. And two other things I'd say is, as much as you can, turn up on time and know what you're doing. Have something to bring, have something to show for yourself. Because again, people are attracted to energies that are bringing something into the room. Have a positive energy, positive outlook, and you know, be passionate about your craft.
Yeah, I would say, and also we're really lucky. We are incredibly lucky in the Midlands that we have got a vast network of actors and directors and script writers. And there's a fantastic group called Theatre Cuppa, which is set up. And I know at the moment, because of our times, it's not happening, but they meet up regularly in the morning, sometimes the afternoon, sometimes the evening. And it's full of people from this industry. Everyone's always willing to try and help support your show, look at your work, read a script that you've got. It's massive. So Theatre Cuppa, try and have a little look on that. It'll be on the Facebook of Live. And get involved, because the Midlands, we're very lucky for all of that support.
Rachel, you know, if anybody who wants to get into assistant directing or you know, that sort of role, how can they connect with like-minded people? Because, you know, obviously Bharti's imparted some information for maybe on-screen work, but what about our backstage stuff? Or
well, I think it's really important. Like, I totally agree with Dex. If you haven't got a good attitude, be sniffed out straight away, I think. So it is really important to be positive, especially when you're working 13-hour days. You need to remain positive. I think every job that I've done, I've always tried to like get my, you know, as a runner or a third, try and get my first AD's email and phone number, take hold of the line producer's email, and then every few months you drop them an email with your up-to-date CV and just keep checking in with these people. As well, I'm not a huge user of Facebook, but for example, there's Birmingham Crew, which people tend to post like job. They tend to post their availability on there, but also they post job things on there as well. Creative England are really good. So you can upload your CV to Creative England, and when job, you know, if a first AD job came up or a second AD job came up, they'll send out an email to everybody on their books, and you can then apply. So it's really, and that's free. Creative England is free. So I would definitely recommend getting in touch with them. And the only pay website I would ever use is the callsheet.com, which has chase lists and job lists. But any of the other websites that say pay to post jobs, I would totally ignore. But the callsheet.com is a genuinely good chase website for getting work. But just get everybody's contacts and badger them and badger them and badger them until they remember who you are.
I think it's also worth just saying that, you know, the sites that Rachel just mentioned, or Theatre Cuppa, there's lots going on, particularly in the Midlands. I can only talk of the Midlands in this case. So, you know, go along and just say, can I just come along to watch? Can I come along and help? And it is that attitude. And if you, and what like Dex says, if you're a good person, you're a, you know, nice person, those are the things that really do count.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I think we've all probably got a story to tell when we all first started out.
RTS Midlands as well are kind of linked into lots of, you know, contacts as well. And Skill Set are another company that's, I think, nationwide, but there's certainly a Midlands branch of them that, you know of job opportunities and things, and keep looking really.
Yeah, it's to be not afraid of reaching out to the networking groups that are out there already. Yes, there will be established members within them, but it's about forwarding on our knowledge as well through those networks, and that's what they are there for. So be brave, take that first step, and then you never know where the rest of the journey is going to take you. Is it easy to break into TV in the regions? A lot of people talk about London and Manchester and some of the this is a question coming in from somebody else, not me. The other bigger cities. In my opinion, Birmingham is the big city because it is the biggest city outside London. But is it easy to break into TV perhaps in Birmingham in relation to London or Manchester?
I mean, I think there are obviously more. There's a lot of things going on in London, but there's still lots going on in Birmingham. Lots of independent production companies, lots of things get moved. People move on, you know, people start their career in Birmingham and then move off. You know, we lose people to work on Casualty, Holby, EastEnders, and that's great because that feeds the industry with talent, but also provides opportunities for new joiners. So, and I think you've said this, but keep trying. You know, if you email your CV in 1 week, it might just, you know, it might be fully crude, but in a month's time or 2 months' time, that could have changed and they could be looking for somebody. So, you know, keep, without being annoying is the way to say it, be persistent really, and keeping up to date on what you're up to, and that also shows your commitment to want to do it. And I know that ADs and line producers in here will say, oh, this person's written in a couple of times now, they must be really keen to work. And it just may happen that they're looking for a new third AD or a runner on that week, and that's how it happens. But I think Birmingham, there's a lot in Birmingham, and hopefully more will come. And and they're talking about big studios coming, and we make a lot of stuff here out of the Drama Village, and let's hope that more work comes to in the next few years, really. So it's a job out there for the future.
Dex, can I ask you that question as well? Because I know that you're originally from London, and obviously now Birmingham is your home, which is great. Do you have any insight on your experience as an actor, trying to get gigs in London and then obviously ending up in Birmingham?
So I know for me personally, a lot of the time it has been a lot of the jobs that I have had, I've been through my agency I got off back at college. But over the years, I have found I can't really make massive differences. The other day, there was actually, just to say, like there was a, well, I don't know how much I can say about this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is social media is a powerful tool, because essentially, even if you yourself don't have an agent, or you can't, get into things that way around, following certain pages, getting involved, just keeping your ear to the ground. There are things like Spotlight that you can be signed up to. They do a student membership where there are opportunities that come in daily opportunities over and over again. Just keep an eye on that. As Bharti is saying, there's Facebook groups, and Rachel was saying Facebook groups to get involved in. Instagram is a powerful tool. A lot of people kind of use it just to show off and so on, but no, you got to use these things. Even TikTok as well, you can use these things to communicate with people who are like-minded, who have things going on. And also, if you're writing or you're creating opportunities, like there are so many people just waiting for it, looking around for it. So you can end up bringing the people to you instead of the other way around. You know, be aware that you have the power to do that as well if you have good ideas. Just because there's no one around you telling you it's a good idea, like expand your network, and there will be people who think your idea is great. And that's why I'd add to that, really.
That's a really interesting perspective. I like that. Bring them to you rather than always taking yourself to them. Just going to move it on a little bit because I've got a few COVID related questions. We know that you are currently filming, which is brilliant. I've got some makeup related ones. So it's got a freelancer, Lucy, sorry, I don't know if she's a freelancer, I'm assuming, but Lucy has asked a question. As a freelancer wanting to break into TV makeup in the current climate, how has the pandemic affected the doctor's makeup department work? And I know, Dex, you are sitting in a dressing room right now, aren't you?
I am currently in a dressing room. With the makeup at the moment, pre-COVID, we would go down to the makeup rooms at our set times, and our makeup will be done for us, then we head over to set. Now, because we can't get within 2 meters distance, our makeup artists have to stand back 2 meters with full PPE gear. And basically at first they gave us a tutorial on how to do our own makeup. I'm really excited for the first episodes back because you'll really be able to tell when I started doing makeup. But yeah, I'd say there's still work there, still some, because they still need to be there to guide. And also once we're on set, you start sweating a little bit, they'll be there, they're on it. They'll be like, you need to get out your dabbing strips, or you need to use the powder brush, or you need to, so it's, the work is still there, but they're still very, very much needed. But it's just been a slightly different job coming back in regards to makeup for us as actors.
And related to that, another question from Sally. Do you have any advice on getting into the costume department in a continuing drama? I'm not sure who's best placed to answer that question. We've got a couple of minutes to go, so nice and concise.
I could do that. I mean, again, our costume department are working really hard, although they can't get close to the actors like they used to. They're still having to prepare all the costumes and clean it and sorting it out. Down the line, we're always looking for fresh talent to come in, really. So seek us out, really, and send your CV in and send in your desire to do this. And who knows, down the line, you could be working in continuing drama. It isn't a closed door. I'm hoping that's what people are going to get from this career session. Is it's there for you to do. Not everybody came from Oxford and Cambridge or anything. There's so many different entry levels that start here, and it's about wanting to do it and a passion for it, and hopefully you'll succeed, but keep trying.
I've got a question about characters. What makes a good character in a drama? This is probably going to be a final question to Bharti and Dex. And actually, Mike, what makes a good character? 3 things each.
Being realistic, having compassion and empathy.
Great. Mike?
I mean, I think great characters are not always the liked ones. They can also be the antagonists. They can be the ones that stir it up. They can be the ones that, it's all about story, really. And we often say, what's the best? What is it? Story or character? And they go hand in hand. You need good stories to feed your characters. You need good characters to feed your stories. So all of them.
Dex?
Just to jump on that point that Mike made, consistency, like you're saying, in terms of the people stir it up and so on. It's good to kind of set your character in a certain way, and then if they're really moody all the time, and then all of a sudden they bust a joke, it's amazing to see sometimes things like that. So definitely the consistency sometimes. Just being entertaining. And again, just being honest to it. A lot of the time we play characters. Just be the best version of yourself that's closest to the truth a little. of it. I'd say that.
Thank you very much. And Rachel?
I'd say I like characters with flaws. So yeah, I think a good character needs a few good flaws.
Great. Mike, before I do wrap up, the burning question that everyone is asking, of course, as Doctor fans, when are we actually going to see it on our TV? I know you're filming, but when are we back on TV?
Very soon, very soon. Watch out for TV listings, and you know, we'll be back on air very soon. It's all to be announced in the next week or so. So watch out.
So keep across the Doctor's social feeds and you will get the latest news on when we're back on screen with that fabulous drama that comes out of Birmingham. So proud of being part of the wider story, telling your story, being able to enable you guys to tell your story to a wider audience as well. Thank you to absolutely everybody for taking an hour out of your morning and joining us. We really do hope it has been useful and you've taken some good action points and advice away with you to embark upon your own careers in continuing drama. If you want to catch up on the recorded session, certainly some of those websites and links that were mentioned, you can go back to the RTS YouTube channel and watch this session again and take some notes. And it remains for me to say thank you to all of our great panellists. Thank you for taking time out, Bharti, Dex, Rachel and Mike this morning with us. Thank you.